So anyways, hey everybody, I'm Dr. Josh with Well Chiropractic. I am a pediatric and prenatal chiropractor, and my goal here is to be a community resource with other great local businesses and providers in our area through community connections like this. So with that, I want to introduce our guest today. We have Ailis Van. And she is, let's see, she's raised all over Alaska, a handful of places, but she is now in Palmer. And then you also have a 4-year-old daughter, Caroline.
I
do. Yes, sweet little girl. And you do a couple things around this area, right?
I do.
Work for the city of Palmer and transitioning out of that though.
Mm-hmm.
And you are now the executive director for the Greater Palmer Chamber of Commerce.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And you're also the owner of Midnight Sun Yoga Center.
Yes. Lots of things.
A few things. You've been doing the yoga here with your own business since 2012.
Mm-hmm.
And one interesting fact I like to tell everybody is we're not going to get into details, but next time they come to a yoga class, they can ask you more about it. But Ailis was an actress. So I'm sure she would love to tell you all the details about that.
That was forever ago.
Yeah. So before we get started here, as many of our watchers know when they come in, or some of my patients and things, that before we get adjusted, before we start out, I always ask them to tell me something good, to just kind of get those good vibes going, positive thinking. So before we get started today, Ailis, tell me something good.
Tell you something good. The sun is shining right now, which is good.
Sort of.
It's Tuesday.
Yeah.
There's flowers blooming and the robins are back, which is a sure sign of spring. So
yeah, definitely. Cool. Yeah. All right. So obviously we know you have your own yoga studio, but really just tell us kind of what that is, kind of what it provides or what it provides our community.
So Midnight Sun is it is a great space. We call it our little yoga oasis. We're in the basement of the Papa Murphy's and GCI building in downtown Palmer. And when you're down there, you can't tell what's going on in the world outside, which is kind of nice sometimes to have that break. And we couldn't even feel the earthquake when it happened. So there you go. Like it was a good place to be. So yeah, we just created this like really warm, inviting space for everybody to come and practice yoga. That's what we wanted to do. Like, there's about 9 of us teachers that teach different every day of the week. We have classes, and we just all wanted to create this great space where everybody feels welcome and it's inviting and warm and kind. And that's what we hear from people all the time. So I feel like we're really doing a good job of meeting our mission, kind of to create that space and stuff. So yeah.
Okay, good. So you've done a few things, lived around the state, various areas. What got you into doing yoga?
So what brought me to yoga originally, the very first class I ever took was through UAS, was where I went to college in Juneau. And I loved it when I took it. And so I wanted to do a little bit more. And so yeah, and then I kind of took a break from yoga, going through college and stuff, and then living in a town where there wasn't any yoga. But then when I moved back to Palmer, I'd had some like chronic back issues, back pain, and just general, like a couple times a year, I would throw out my back and be, walking around like I was 150 years old and couldn't stand up straight, couldn't put my socks on, all that kind of stuff. And so I was like, okay, like I remember feeling really good when I did yoga. So then I started getting into it more here and started meeting people and everything. And then when the opportunity presented itself to start teaching and do a teacher training, I jumped on that because I wanted everybody to do yoga. So, but yeah, chronic pain was what brought me to yoga for sure. Yeah. And anxiety and depression and all that kind of stuff. I just, yoga helped me when nothing else would. So through a lot of stuff, and it continues to. I did it. So I have a 4-year-old, and I taught yoga and practiced yoga up until the day before I gave birth. Yes. So I taught yoga on Saturday morning and gave birth on Sunday morning. So it's
Committed.
pretty
Love
good
it.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, which kind of brings me into then it's really awesome for throughout your pregnancy as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so what is your why? Why do you get up every day to go teach yoga? What is
Um, because of a lot of reasons, because it feels good.
sure, yeah,
But also just because when people come up and tell us like how wonderful it makes them feel and how it's helped them through whatever, through childbirth, through divorce, through chronic pain, whatever it may be. Like when people come up and tell me that, or tell the instructors, and then they tell me that, like that's what it is, you know,
mm-hmm.
to help to have this place to have this place create this space for people to work through their stuff, like whatever it is. And we don't care, like we don't ask
Yep,
you like what are your issues when you walk in the
sure,
door. We actually try to get people to leave their stuff at the door and then just focus on themselves for an hour.
mm-hmm.
um so yeah, like that's the why, like absolutely, like because you know we're helping people, you know, we're leading people through yoga, and they're taking away what they need to, whether it's physical stuff, like physical movement, like getting stuff out, working out tension and stuff, or if it's mental or whatever, like it just, you know, we're creating that space and moving people through these postures, and then they get more out of it than what we're saying. But, you know, that's the why, like, absolutely.
Yeah, I
Um,
can I can definitely tell your passion, to want to
yeah.
help people. It's I see some of the same stuff every day. It's so awesome just to see those results of just things happen that
Yeah.
you're not even thinking about even
Right.
or like
And you don't even know, like, you know, a lot of times you can't tell from the outside what someone's going through. And then,
mm-hmm.
you know, a few months later they tell you, and you're like, wow, you know, that's amazing. Like, it's so cool that yoga helped you, like, become that was part of your journey and healing or whatever it is. And just seeing people like willing to make that change and like to step out of their box and try something new, all that stuff is like, it's so cool. And like you can definitely see this like transformation over people.
Sure,
And sometimes it just takes one class and you're like, holy moly, like you can just see a big difference in people. But you know, other times it takes a little bit longer. So
sure, yeah. Everybody
yeah.
goes at their own pace and goes through things differently, and
Mm-hmm.
their bodies react and handle things differently. So yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. So obviously, yoga is great for everybody, right? No matter what. But what is like your ideal client that you love just to help or see every single day when you go in there?
Gosh, yeah, that's hard because yeah, everybody can benefit from it. You know, I think most of the people that we see are just people that, you know, I don't know. It's really hard to say because you know, I've been to a lot of different yoga studios, and I just
Hmm.
feel like Midnight Sun is so awesome because, and maybe it's just Palmer because Palmer's great too, but, you know, we get such a wide demographic in every single yoga class. You know, it's not all just 19-year-olds that are doing yoga. It's not all just 60-year-olds that are doing yoga. It's like
Mm-hmm.
this great blend of everybody, like, you know, from young people all the way up into older folks, you know, and yeah. But the thing, I guess, if I could say that we'd like to see more of is men, because, you know, more and more men are coming to the studio and coming regularly with their wives or
Mm-hmm.
with friends or whatever. But, you know, the guys are the ones that come to class and they're like, oh my God, whoa, that was way harder than I thought it was going to
Yeah.
be. It was way
Yep.
harder. Or they're just, they're, even if it's not a hard class, right? Like, you know, like a gentle yoga class, guys will come to gentle yoga and then they'll be like, oh my God, that was so hard. And I'm like, yeah, it's hard to like stretch for an hour, but it gets better, you know? And
Yeah.
so, but you know, the guys that do come, they love it. They swear by it. And they add it into their routine of working out or whatever. And they say that it helps them. So, and also like you know, when I was pregnant and doing yoga, I only have one child, but so I can't compare it to any previous pregnancies or anything. But
Mm-hmm.
the way that I felt through my pregnancy and through my labor and delivery, like I can only think that it was because I had done so much yoga. Like I just,
Sure.
you know, I could feel my abs, like my abs were still there, even though you couldn't even tell because I was ginormous. But like I could feel them working to help me push that child out, and it was so cool. And like, you know, so I encourage a lot of like pregnant mamas to come and try yoga too. And we don't have any prenatal classes on the schedule regularly, but
Hmm.
right now, but any yoga class is good. Like,
Yeah, sure.
we don't have anything at the studio that they couldn't at least do part of, to where it would
Okay.
be
Yeah.
beneficial for
It
them.
doesn't have to
Yeah.
be a specific pregnancy class for them to be able to
No,
get the
Yep.
benefits of it.
Yep,
Okay.
absolutely. Yep.
Good.
So,
Good. Okay. So everybody just go do yoga. Okay. And the
everyone.
guys, right?
Yep.
Um, so what is, there's a lot of yoga studios and things like that. I know you said that you're probably a little biased because it's yours, but that's okay. You said it's just a different space and it feels awesome. So what is different about Midnight Sun?
Um, what's different about Midnight Sun? Yoga is all that we do. We have a Tai Chi class going on right now. Um, is on the weekends. But like everything else is yoga. Like that's our passion, and
Hmm.
and all of our instructors are super talented, and everyone's a little different, which is great too. Like we're not all just robots. I tell people that all the time. Like if you don't like my teaching style, I don't want you to give up on yoga. Like I want you to
Yep.
go try another class because I've been to classes where like, oh my gosh, that teacher's voice drives me nuts, or oh, I just didn't really like that style or whatever. But like everybody is different. And so, you come to a class and you're like, then you go to another one, you're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing.
Sure.
And you just have to give it a chance. One of my instructors, Amy, she uses the hashtag give yoga a chance a lot because, it really does. Like sometimes it just takes one,
Hmm.
but then one class, but then other times it takes a while for you to be like, oh yeah, I really like this. It's like onions or something. Like I don't know if I'm on the fence about this, but yeah. So
I get similar. I can get that in my field as well. People try one chiropractor and they don't like, if they don't like it, and they don't ever go to find another one. Similar, kind of what you're saying. It's
absolutely.
it's like, but if you go to a dentist and you don't like them, do they just stop going to the dentist? No, they don't.
Right. No.
So they just
Yeah.
find another one. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's
It's
really
very true.
important to let everybody know that to don't just stop after one
Yeah.
try, for
And
sure.
yeah, I mean, I think Midnight Sun is cool too because of that like Oasis feel. Like you really can't tell what's going on outside the world, and I think that's great. And it's nice to just like shut that door and be done
Hmm.
with things for a while and have that time to focus on yourself. And it can be a little bit loud up above us sometimes. Like the businesses above us get a little crazy, or I don't know, but can't always tell what's going on. But we know they're kind of being loud. But
Sure.
yeah, I think it's hard to find a more welcoming and inviting space than Midnight Sun. Like I just,
Yeah, it
it's just
definitely
we're
is.
just
I've been in
yeah,
there, and it's a very nice place, and
yeah,
yeah, kind of gets away in kind of another world, and yeah, just do your thing. It's awesome.
yeah.
Uh, so as we kind of finish up here, what is, as we do these community connections, we want to give everybody as much as we can. What is there another, business or provider of some sort that you just think everybody needs to know about that maybe we can get them on here to share what they do?
Yeah, that's hard because I'm more familiar with Palmer because I live here and work here and everything, but so I'm real biased on our businesses, and I work for the chamber, so
Sure.
I
That's
gotta promote those
Yeah.
Palmer businesses.
Rep the Palmer. Hey, I'm in
um,
Palmer,
you
so
are in Palmer, yeah.
yeah.
You're officially in Palmer for
I
sure.
am.
Um, but one of my favorite new businesses is 203 Kombucha.
Okay.
They kombucha has been around for a long time, but people are like kombucha. What is that?
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
but it's good for your gut. It's a good like post yoga beverage or pre yoga beverage or whatever.
Sure.
But David, the owner of that company, one of the owners of that company, is pretty amazing. Like what he's doing in this kind of short amount of time that he's been around, and like creating community and creating a space for people to like. He has open mic night. He has trivia night. Like it's this cool like family friendly environment to like go
Hmm.
get a drink of something tasty, and it's not a bar.
Yeah.
Like it's cool. I've had people say like I love it there because it's like I can take my kids and it's not a bar,
Yeah.
and yeah, the space is beautiful, and I feel like what he's doing is just really cool. Like he's always, I don't know, I feel like he's always working on something, and
Yeah. And
yeah,
the
we're lucky to have him too.
Yeah, the decor is awesome. If you hear the story of how all that got put together, that's really
Yeah.
cool too.
Yeah, super cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's an awesome location. So
yeah, awesome. Okay, I will reach out to him. I know David, so I can maybe we can get him on here too. So
yeah, have him. He's our greeter tomorrow at Chamber too. So
okay,
hopefully he'll be doing some kombucha tasting.
yeah, hopefully, cool. So tell everybody. Obviously, we can get on Facebook and probably find you, but what's just go ahead and let everybody know the some good contact information for you.
Oh yeah, of course.
And maybe,
Yeah, we're on Facebook. We're pretty active on Facebook, and then we also have a website with our schedule, which is midnightsunyoga.com. And then my phone number is 723-5262, and that's the studio number as well. So sometimes when people show up for a 5:30 a.m. class and I answer like half asleep, they're like, "Oh, I'm so sorry," but I just didn't want to carry around two phones. So yeah,
gotcha.
phone, Facebook, email, midnightsunyoga@gmail.com. Like we're pretty accessible. So,
Okay.
and even if people just have general questions about yoga, like, "Oh, I have this thing, can I do yoga?" Like happy to answer.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Great. Awesome. So just kind of look ahead for next week. We have Victoria Kelly with the Baby Store Alaska. So she's going to give us some insight on kind of some baby stuff.
Baby
It's
stuff.
pretty cool store, and she is awesome. So we're going to have her next week, so stay tuned for that. And then if all you guys out there, know somebody, which is everybody, that could benefit from some yoga, please share this, and maybe tag somebody in it. That way, the word gets out of this awesome yoga studio. So make sure to do that. And so with that, thank you very much for your time.
You're so
I
welcome.
appreciate it. And
Thanks for teaching me all these new technological things.
hey, we made
Appreciate
it.
it.
We survived. Yeah, it was great.
Yep.
So, all right, we will see you all next week for our community connection with Victoria. Be well, everybody.
Thanks, Josh.
Yeah, see ya.
Bye.